Sup everyone, I'm in an art block, yay! And the best way to get out of an art block is to try new things. It's really good for your creativity. So I really want to try my hand at pixel art. I used to try out pixel art way back in the day, like DeviantArt days, but to be honest, everyone back then tried out pixel art at least once because all we had was MS Paint. This one is from 2009. It's like the only piece that I could find. It's not very good. But anyway, in this video, I'm going to show off a neat little app called Pixsquare. It's an art app that is available on iPad and iPhones, and it's used specifically to create pixel art. So let's take a look at Pixsquare. Alright, so here's the app, here's what it looks like. You can see all of your artwork right here. Here's something I really want to show off. At the top right at settings, there's theme customization. There's a ton of themes for you to choose from, so all of the themes in the UI can be changed. I'll show you what it looks like inside the canvas. So this is the whole UI. I'll get into it in a second, but right now you can see that everything is gray. This entire UI can be changed. Go back to gallery up here, go to the gear, go to settings, go to theme customizations, and you can just download a bunch of themes. These are themes that are submitted by other people. So let's try Mini Sunny. This is by Sunny. Hit yes, and the entire theme is changed. It's so cute. Even like little icons are changed as well. You can see this circle turned into this really cute little sunflower thing. But also, if you want to customize it yourself, you can do that. I'll go back to the default and let's change the colors. I looked up what is scientifically proven, like what color is supposed to be softest on your eyes. And apparently it's like, you know, that yellowish book paper sort of color. So I'm gonna try to change all of that to that color. It's just gonna have everything like very, very brown toned. I think I'm okay with this. Next you have images, so like each of the icons like this, they can be changed. I didn't change them, so they're still gray like this. So if I click on anyone else's theme, it'll apply to the theme that I have, but only changing the icons. Oh, this one by Tofu, it's called Matcha. This looks really nice. I think I'll go with Matcha. And then there's font, changing from the pixelated font to a regular font, or any of the other fonts that other people have uploaded. I think I'll just go with default. Hit close. Yeah, this looks really nice. You can upload your theme as well. There's a whole tutorial on that. Let's take a look what it looks like inside the canvas. Oh, it's so soft. I know gray is a really good color as well, but gray is such a cold color. Okay, now let's take a look at the UI inside. This is one of the sample artworks that come with the app. Alright, so on the top we have the gallery. We have tabs for the artwork that we have. We've got a back button to the gallery, a button to hide and show the tabs. Also, can I just say that I really like this little detail right here? If your iPad supports pen hovering, this is what happens when you hover your pen over tools and stuff. I think it's really, really nice. It's just a nice detail. Got settings, a bunch of settings, and then export. Similar to Procreate, we got sliders for the brush size and the opacity. At 0 opacity, it turns into an eraser. Undo, redo, and an eyedropper. Got a bunch of tools up here, the color, and on the right side, we got layers. And this is so cool. I really like this. I like that you can just change the size of each panel. You can take it out, put it anywhere that you want. We've got a navigator window here. I can also drag this one out as well. Oh, also, if you want to know the real size, you can just tap and hold. And this is the actual size of the canvas if you want to know that. Here's something for references. We've got a color palette here, and oh, this is really cool. You can set this to be this like really tiny, like a gesture panel that you can set. So here's like, if you want to tap, double tap, swipe, you can set all of that as well. And like if I'm drawing like this, I can leave it here. I've set it to flip when I swipe on it. And you can do a lot of settings with this. I think this is really cool. I've never seen any app do something like this, like a gesture panel. Up here in the settings, you've got a lot of settings. Everything is pretty much customizable. Got your language settings, canvas settings, like the pixel grid. If the threshold is less, then the grid will show up much earlier when you zoom in. So, see this little pixel grid. There's also the canvas grid. If you don't have like a background layer, you know, the transparent background canvas grid, I really don't like it, so usually it would have this off. And your usual stuff like canvas rotation, or right here you can resize the canvas. There's also settings for drawings, like with each tool, settings for animation, and other features like the gesture pad that I showed you. A left-handed mode if you're left-handed, and a handy joystick, which shows this, but I don't use it, so I'm gonna turn that off. And the fun mode, what it does is just, you know, tickles your brain as you draw. Pretty much. And here in the keyboard settings, you can set shortcuts. This is really good. This is so awesome. Some apps don't have it, and I'm like so bummed out about it. If you watch my videos, you know that I can't draw without keyboard shortcuts. So here you can customize it for each tool, each action and stuff. So you can set your shortcuts with like a Bluetooth keyboard, macro pad or controller, so you can use shortcuts. And lastly is the theme, just like in the gallery section. Okay, now let's just try out the brushes. I'll have the canvas at, let's say 300 by 300. And you can start off with a color palette. Remember that there was a color palette panel right here. You can start off with any of these specific color panels. This one I created myself just to use with doing line art. So I think I would just go with this. Ugh, the white hurts my eyes. Let me just change the background. And there we go. Okay, so here in the layer panel, you can make new layer, delete, add a reference, add a new tile map, folder, or duplicate. I'll make a new layer. So let's take a look at the tools. So the first tool we got is the move tool. It's, you know, self-explanatory. Why do I have something down there? Is it in gray? Okay, it selected something down there. But anyway, you can clear it, or, you know, flip it, cut, copy. And you can see that there's this little panel up here, right? This is pretty cool. So instead of having to like zoom in and like desperately try to move things around pixel by pixel, you can just use the little keypad here. It'll move like by 1 pixel, or like by 2 steps, so it's gonna jump, or like 8 steps, so it's just gonna keep going boom, 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 boom. Next up, brush tool. All these panels you can drag out to use, which I absolutely love. We have a brush. You can change the brush type to a spray or spray with opacity. And the next setting is pixel perfect. So from my understanding, from seeing like some pixel tutorials, if you do a line and it goes into a step ladder like that, this is incorrect. This is not the right way to do a line. So you turn on pixel perfect, so it would do this. It would go diagonally. It wouldn't have the extra pixel that connects them like this, is my understanding. And next we have stabilizer. Thank God, because I can't draw really straight. You can turn that up real high. Next is a watercolor option. If I have it off and the pen's opacity down low, each stroke is just gonna be that, you know, lowered opacity. So my color selected right now is black. With lowered opacity, it turns gray. But with watercolor, you know, makes it realistically like how it would act in other apps. So you can see that the opacity is lowered and all the strokes are layered. Next is pressure sensitivity, which is, you know, pen pressure. I'm so glad that this exists in case I want to draw something with pen pressure and not with just, you know, a single lined pen. Next is contour. Just drag and then it'll automatically fill. And you can change the stroke type if you want to use a square instead. Or, you know, jumble it up. This is like a blur brush. And there's an actual blur, but I don't know, I'm not good at pixel art, so I want to know, why does this exist? It just, you know, it's not pixel art anymore because it's blurred. It's like, you know, it's the blending of other pixels and it's not pixel art anymore. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Last one we got a custom brush. I tried this out, it's pretty cool. Look at this, look. Okay, so I have this weird looking heart, right? With the lasso tool, I'll select this, go back to my brush, hit plus, and now it's a brush. There's an unaligned option, so every time you just put it down and then hold, and it turns into like this pattern. Like, this is so fun. There's a canvas aligned, which is the same, but it's aligned to like the canvas. And lastly, you know, just turn it into a brush. Also, when drawing, you can turn on dithering. This would make it like, as you lift your pen up, it would have like less pixels like this. So it's kind of like blending. You can adjust it to 4x4. You can see a different type of pattern it's creating, and then 8x8. So a pretty good way to blend your pixels. Anyway, fun fact, if you're looking at this from the video, and as I zoom in and out, you can see there's like a sort of flickering effect happening, and it looks kind of weird. This is called a moire effect. And next up, you know, eraser. There's not much to it. Next we have the line tool. It's already snapping to like cardinal like directions. It's because of perfect angle. You can turn that off as well. We've got line and then curve tool. Okay, so drag line, drag curve, drag another curve. They have like a lot of gestures as well. Like if you want just this curve, not a second curve anchor, double tap on your screen and then it's done. We got shape tools. Let's see. Okay, we got circle and square and the filled option. Next we have a lasso. We got square lasso, circle lasso, regular lasso, what is this, polygon, and the wand tool. So the wand tool has like a sampling layer. It's reference. It's like, you know, reference layer. Okay, on this layer I'll have something like this here, make a new layer. And if I want the wand to reference this one, which is on layer 2, I just have to drag layer 2 and drop here. Okay, now I'm back on layer 3, hit the wand tool, and it'll select what's on layer 2 because it's sampling layer 2. Alright, so you can just drag the color and drop, or you can just use the fill tool to just click. But not just fill, you can also do a gradient. So I have pink selected, I'll add that, I'll pick another color, let's say green, Add that, and then, yeah. I'm a little surprised, okay, when the first time I did this. Why is it not pixelated, but like an actual gradient? So let's add a dithering right here. And yeah, that's much better. That's pixel. And there's an option for noise. Nice. Looking at this really tickles my brain. There's also a sample gradient. Also, just like the wand, you can sample a layer as well. Also, like you see generate gradient here, you can have the gradient have more than one color in it. So see, I have green right here, and then I go with blue. And when I gradient, there's only two colors. If I zoom in, you can see there's only green, and then there's the blue. It can look a lot more smoother with more colors. So let me just take this out. Generate palette. I'll start with the green that I had earlier, and then end in that blue. And then like you can choose the amount that you want to count. I'll say like have 5, press add, and all these colors are appearing. So when I do my gradient again, you can see that there's more colors in there. There's that light green right there. There's the darker green, and then like it's more like this turquoise color, then blue, then darker blue, and then finally just the blue that I selected. Anyway, okay, let's start drawing something. I think I'll start with like 300 by 300. Okay, so I'm not a pixel artist. I'm not proficient in it, but I'm going to attempt to do it using my usual art process, which is, sketch and then line and then color. And I think it's not so different from pixel art, but I'll try it out. For the background layer, I'm gonna set it to a light gray so I don't hurt my eyes. Make a new layer, and then, try sketch something. Okay, so I lowered the opacity of the brush to kind of make sure that it imitates like a pencil brush in other art apps. So it's something I'm more familiar with. For this video, I'm gonna draw Kaveh because I haven't drawn him in a hot second and I love him so much. He's Genshin's prettiest boy. I had a thought to draw Alhaitham with him, but the thought of having to draw 2 characters in an art app that I'm not used to sounds like a hot mess. And I might just overwhelm myself. So I made sure to go with something like simple, but kind of nice. So I'm gonna draw Kaveh with a cup of coffee because I know people draw him with a cup of wine all the time because, he drinks and stuff, but he also drinks coffee. It's in his like birthday letter, or maybe it was Alhaitham's birthday letter. But yeah, they both go to buy coffee beans and they drink coffee. So I'm drawing him with a steaming hot cup of coffee because I think that would look nice. Both of his hands are on the coffee cup. Let's just pretend it's a really thick ceramic mug. So now that the sketch is done, I'm gonna resize the canvas down. I'm afraid it might be too big. Okay, so I resized it down. I'm not sure if this is less than enough pixels. I'm scared that if the canvas, even though it's 300, if it's too big, the artwork's not gonna look like a pixel art. It's gonna look regular because there's a lot more pixels. So now I resized it down, and let's see if I line this from like 1 pixel, how does it look? Is enough pixels for like details? Is like this is enough pixels for like the nose, enough for the mouth? Damn, this looks rough. But let me cook, okay, let me cook. I'm pretty sure like this size is enough, okay? Okay, you know what, I'll do it roughly and then I'll come fix it later. How about that? I think that might work. Now I'm just gonna clear everything up, just sort of clean up all the pixels and close up all the gaps I've forgotten. It's so hard when you only have limited pixels. I usually work on like at least like one-sided length, like the length or height at 4K, 300 DPI. And now being limited to just like a few pixels, this is a good challenge. This is being limited to just a few pixels. This is a good challenge. This is good. Watch me attempt to clean this up, okay? There's something really satisfying about zooming in and just like dotting each square, each pixel. Like I could just do this and have like a podcast on. This is like peak coziness. Okay, so I'm just filling in some parts, like harsh shadows in black, and then fix up some pixels, make sure it looks and arranges really nicely, redrawing some parts to make it look okay. I think I'm good now. I think this would be better. I can fix everything in post. After the whole color is done, my art process is that I do the whole thing and then like 1 layer on top of the artwork, and then I fix everything else. That's how I work. All right, let's add some color. I'm gonna use the fill bucket reference lines. Oh wait, I can just sample like visible. That's a lot better, right? Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, I'm not gonna use any specific color palette. I'm just gonna stick to character accurate sort of colors. Okay, now I just gotta make sure that I didn't miss any little gaps. Alright, I turned the background to this magenta color just so I can see like all the little gaps that I've missed. So with that bright colored background, I'm able to see any pixels that are popping through that I've missed coloring in. And then I made a new layer, set it to multiply. Started shading in gray first because I'll change the colors later, and then I forgot to add the clothing details, so I quickly added that in. Okay, with the shadows, it looks kind of good. It's a little better. Okay, I know the shadows are gray, but we're gonna change the color. So alpha lock this and then change the colors. Okay, so just select a warmish color like a soft yellow or brown or orange, just to keep everything looking warm. I'm surprised that even so far into the process, I don't really have that much issue with it being so pixel, like using my own process adapting to pixel art. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. Added some more shadows and used the dithering to shade on some parts like the cheeks and on like his shoulder pad things. It gives a nice little gradient. Okay, I think this is looking really good. Now the next move is to change the line art color, do some more fixes, highlights, and then I'll move on to the background. So instead of alpha locking, I created a new layer, poured down brown, and then select mask and then clipping mask so that it will clip to the layer below, which is the line art layer, and then change the colors on a separate layer first before merging them together. And then that's done, I grouped everything into a folder, created another layer, and then clipped that layer to the folder, and then added highlights. And then added some shine on the gold parts and like the mug, coffee container, sure. For the background, I'm just gonna add a couple of windows that they have in their house. I completely forgot that there's a symmetry tool, but too late. I already just drew the thing and then copy pasted and flipped it. I'm not gonna copy it exactly down to like each detail. I'm just gonna do it very roughly and use that function of the custom brush where it, repeats. Do that and then roughly add the colors. So it's a more simplified version of the window. Made 2 windows, made a gradient background, and then added like a layer filled with grain set to lighten. This is just so that the windows look a lot more lighter and just so that they're clearly separated from the foreground. And lastly, the steam from the mug. Alright, this is finished. I think I did a pretty good job for like doing actual pixel art for the first time. Like this is legit my first time doing pixel art, I think. I'm pretty sure. Now that it's done, let's try out some effects on top of it. Here's some options for post-processing, which means like after you're finished, you can add effects onto your artwork. So first effect we have here is CRT, which is like the old-timey TV kind of look. You can scale this, add the glow. This is so retro. There's a toggle for pixel independent as well, and you can see that the effect happens on each pixel instead. Next, let's try vignette, which is, just darkens the corners, or you can make them brighter. Next is bloom, which it's sort of like duplicating a blurred layer of the final art on top of it, creating this, glowy, ethereal kind of look. And finally, round pixel, which just turns each pixel into a circle, like this. You can turn on continuous or not. Continuous means that each of the pixels are linked. If it's off, then each individual pixel is like separated. So here you can see they're all round. You can change the background. But I think I'll just leave it like this. Maybe I'll do some more edits off camera, like some color adjustments, but for now I'm really happy with how this came out. I never expected myself to be able to do this. Now, finally, let's export it with this button right here. Change the file name. I'll choose to export all layers. And right here is the size multiplier. So when you see this artwork, if you hold right here on the navigator button, it'll show its actual size, which is about 300 pixels. If I were to post this on like my social media, like Twitter, actual post size are a lot bigger, like kind of like this. And if I were to post it on this size, it would stretch and become blurry. If I want it to be this size, you just have to add a multiplier. Just hit 2 or 3, and then you can see the actual size down here. That will be its exported size. So for artwork exported and posted to social media, I go to about 1500 at most, but for this one, I think I'll go for just 1200. That's just enough to post on social media. You have the option for trimming and pick square footer. If I hit the footer and hit export, this is a preview. You can see that there's the footer right there. I'll have this off for now. Export and save. Let's see what happens if I export it with no multiplier. So here it is exported with the multiplier and without. You can see it's so blurry because it's been stretched out. Its actual size is supposed to be viewed at like this. So make sure to add the multipliers when you're exporting. Also, if you want to export your time lapse, just go to export, and then in the file type, change it to time lapse. And here, this will change to speed multiplier. So you wait for it to calculate, and then if you have it at the left with no multiplier, then it's the full time. You can see right here, it's 14 minutes. But let's say I want this to just be like, let's say 20 seconds long. I just slide this up. It's a 5-time multiplier. And you can adjust how long like the final image will show on the time lapse. So for right now, it's at 5 seconds and just hit export. So yep, that's doing pixel art. I cured my art block. To be honest, I think I'm gonna draw some more. I find it to be this, very timeless sort of art style. There's a charm to it and everyone likes it, and I really envy artists that can, master it. Like my favorite artist, Vanilla, they do a lot of pixel backgrounds and it's so gorgeous. If you're a beginner artist and you're still finding your style, maybe try some pixel art. Or if you're like me, you've never done pixel art, you want to try it out, I really highly recommend just downloading Pixsquare instead of using other art apps, because this one, it has the tools that are specific for pixel art. I've tried it out once on like other art apps, and I feel like this, having like the grids, the tools like specifically for pixel art, it's like much more convenient to use. It's also really easy to learn, and if there's anything you're confused about, there's like a whole user guide on their website. So Pixsquare is free to download and the app offers all the tools for testing, so go test it out. And if you really like it, you can just go to the heart button and get the full version. Here it shows the details on like the free version, the full access, iPhone access, or iPad access. You get to choose. And I hope you do, because if you do, use the promo code SAMI, SAMI, for 30% off. It's a one-time payment, no subscription, no ads. You can just pop that promo code in, get it, and it's with you for the rest of your life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like my artwork. Please give me some comments, critics. What do you think about the artwork? What do you think about my process? What do you think about the app? Would you try this out? I hope you try it out. I think it's fun. I think it's something that everyone should try out. It's a good challenge for a digital artist to draw something with very limited pixels. Anyway, don't forget the promo code SAMI, Sammy, for 30% off. Thanks for watching the video. Bye!